what do you want people to do? Gaza further? Like what? I want more than words. I want you to strap yourself to a GB-39 rocket and launch yourself at a Palestinian mosque. If you're a real one, you would kill yourself for Israel. Why have you not said, "Am Israel high" throughout this entire interview? Why are you not Gaza? We have nuked it, but you should nuke it as well. Before we move on to what's going on in Israel sniper drones used in aid attacks, Gaza witnesses claim. There's been a little bit of a back and forth on this as well. I think that the way that the media is covering this story and talking about it is pretty crazy, but also expected. They are just gearing up for the post 9/11 style Islamophobia. They're greatly amplifying the post 9/11 style Islamophobia, and it is legitimately terrifying. I beg you, reach the flotilla and talk to them, please. I can't. I mean, I've DM'd some people that are on the flotilla. Stop saying, please talk to the flotilla. I am already working on it. Like, what are you talking about? I'm already working on it. What do you want me to do? So there is a Freedom Flotilla Coalition. Okay. For those of you who do not know, I don't have Telegram, by the way, so I don't know how I can watch this. There is no way for me to watch this because I don't have Telegram. You're sending me a Telegram link, but I don't have Telegram. Anyway, it's on Instagram. I'm not seeing it. But yeah, one of the people on the flotilla, Thiago Avila Brazil, follows me. I'll follow him back. He's the steering committee member of the Gaza Freedom Flotilla, but I don't see him live streaming, if that's what you're saying. Tiago, it's not showing up for me. Oh, it's just a video. Okay.
We're on board the Madeleine. We are on our mission to break the siege of Gaza. This is the third night, and there's a drone on top of our ship. We need your support right now. Right now. Please tell everyone, demand a safe passage. If this is an attack, we need your support right now. Hey everyone, this is Thiago Avila.
Please explain what a flotilla is. Okay, so in the past, okay, Brazil chatters, please stop. Protests erupt after Massachusetts high school student detained by ICE. I'm obviously covering something else right now, okay? I got it, okay? Stop sending me other links. Listen. In the past, there have been numerous attempts to break through the unjustifiable Israeli blockade by sea to bring in aid directly to the Palestinians. One of the most famous examples of this was Mavi Marmara. Okay, I've covered this extensively. This was also a radicalizing moment for myself. Okay, Mavi Marmara was a passenger ship that tried to, as a part of the Gaza Freedom Flotilla, tried to break through the unjustifiable Israeli blockade to deliver humanitarian aid to the Palestinian population living in Gaza. Okay? In the process of going through, Israel basically came in. There were 3 ships in the Gaza Freedom Flotilla. Israel basically dropped commandos into the humanitarian aid ship after issuing warnings that they were not allowed to go into Gaza, and they dropped commandos into the ships and slaughtered 9 of the passengers. Okay? This took place in 2011. Okay? It's rather difficult to hold on. In 2010, I apologize, not 2011. They went in and they the people that were on the ship. And then they turned around and did the classic Israel nonsense, where they claimed that these guys were terrorists, they claimed that they had weapons, and they claimed that they deserved being slaughtered, right? They did the fake audio messages between the Israeli Navy and the Mavi Marmara. They released, fake audio messages, things like that. Recently, there were numerous attempts to implement a similar flotilla to bring humanitarian aid directly into Gaza. Once again, initially it was launched by friend of the show, Dylan Saba, alongside many other Gaza Flotilla Humanitarian Foundation members, the Freedom Flotilla Coalition. Turkey did not allow them to actually leave the Turkish ports. So they went back and they tried to do it again. And Israel, a couple months ago, shot one of the Freedom Flotilla ships off the coast of Malta, thousands of miles off the Israeli coastline. Airstrike unconscious confirmed. Crew evacuated. FFC still denied investigation. This happened in the month of May. After that, the Freedom Flotilla Coalition, who you can track, and they have a Telegram channel, but I believe their live stream just ended. The Freedom Flotilla Coalition went back with another ship called Medellin that had Greta Thunberg, Rima Hasan, who is a part of France Unbowed, the party that I interviewed the head of, Mélenchon, okay, alongside other famous activists, and even Liam Cunningham, who was Davos Seaworth from Game of Thrones, okay? And they are on their way. They're on their way to, I can't watch this channel, chat. I don't have Telegram. They were on their way to the Gaza Strip again. And now they are a couple miles off the coastline of Greece, as far as I saw in the latest tracker, which you can follow. Okay, but it doesn't seem like the ship is moving now on the tracker. But here's the Madeleine off of the coastline of Greece, and people that are on the ship, including Tiago, have posted about hearing drones. Rima Hasan, who is also on the ship, said 2 drones are around us. Okay, here's a video of Tiago Villa.
I'm here on board the Madeleine. We are on our mission to break the siege of Gaza. This is the 3rd night, and there's a drone on top of our ship. We need your support right now.
Radical French Boer. I have already DM'd Rima Hasan. Please stop fucking demanding that I talk to Rima Hasan. I already DM'd her. She follows me on Twitter. She's on a ship surrounded by drones. I feel like she's a little bit busy to talk to me right now. Okay? Jesus Christ. I also can't watch their live stream on Telegram because I don't have Telegram. Here are some of the other people on the ship. Baptiste Andre, Greta Thunberg, Shuaib Ordu, Mark von Rennes, Omar Fayyad, Pascal Moreras, Reva Viard, Rima Hasan, Sergio Toribio, Tiago Avila, Yanis Mamdi, Yasemin Ajar, who I think is also Turkish of German. German of Turkish descent. These are the 12 volunteers aboard the Freedom Flotilla's Madeleine en route to Gaza. Okay? You guys act like a cult. Please do praxis and stop worshiping Hasan's farts. Worshiping my farts? You're not wrong. They should, but you're cringe for saying you should do praxis. This is a live stream? Oh, this is Al Jazeera Arabic. Why did you send me the Al Jazeera Arabic repost? Just send me, please, chatters. Please send me a fucking better link than the tiniest Al Jazeera Arabic link you could find. I'm also not going to sign on Telegram. I will give you further updates on what is going on as the day goes by. But it seems like Al Jazeera Arabic is one of the only broadcasters that's like live broadcasting what's going on. I guess they sent a drone off the coast of Greece. This is the drone. Heron, an Israeli Air Force Heron UAV flying directly above the ship. Yeah, they're off the coastline of Greece. Anyway, they shot at the previous ship. It says Greek Coast Guard, not IDF. What, this says Greek Coast Guard? Aircraft category military. Am I seeing this wrong or something? What's happening? Oh, it says Greece Coast Guard. Okay, my bad. Yeah. Okay. As the Madeleine ship attempts to reach Gaza, expect a rise in fake photos, videos, and reports about what's happening at sea. Keep in mind, any likely confrontation with the Israeli Navy will probably take place at night. The only real-time visuals will come from the crew's cameras and IDF drone footage. Everything else will rely on delayed witness accounts. Be cautious of what you see online. Verify before sharing. And remember how limited our ability is to confirm events in real time. Yeah, the reason why I thought it was Israeli is because Haran is an Israeli drone, by the way. Like, it might be the Greek Coast Guard, but they're using a Israeli UAV. The IAI Haran Machatz 1 is a medium-altitude, long-endurance unmanned aerial vehicle developed by Malat, the UAV drone division of Israeli Aerospace Industries. Many countries, of course, use and utilize Israeli weapons, Greece being one of them. Greek Coast Guard does not have a Haran drone. I'm Greek myself. Okay, but this is identified as a Greek Coast Guard drone. So I don't know why you're saying that. It's not that crazy for it to be a what? Media viewer? What the hell is this? What is this?
The Israeli army, they issued warning shots in the air and
oh, this is the other story that we're going to be talking about. It's a Greek drone? Yeah. Yeah, we'll talk about the David Menser clip in a second, okay? But as of now, these are the only updates. So there is seemingly a Greek Coast Guard drone that is an Israeli drone in its origin flying over the ship, okay?
المناورة على سبيل المثال بتنفيذ خطط السلامة.
When is the flotilla supposed to arrive? In a couple days. It's right around here, and the flotilla is supposed to be here. There you go. The drone is like, I guess like the flight tracker is not real time maybe, but I believe it's supposed to arrive on the 7th. That's what they were saying. June 7th is when they were planning on arriving at the Gaza Strip. Do you think they'll sink it again? I think there is a likelihood that they will shoot at it again in an attempt to sink it, in an attempt to stop it. Considering that the last time they did this off the coast of Malta, which was even further away from the Israeli coast, and no repercussions came for that kind of insane behavior that is a violation of the sovereignty of European nations, as well as just incredibly fucking inhumane. Okay, Israel might attempt to do this again. Now, as I was covering yesterday, the Washington Post and many other outlets reported that at least 31 people were killed Sunday morning in southern Gaza, according to Strip's health ministry, when Israeli troops opened fire on crowds making their way to collect aid. Okay. The Israeli government's initial response to this was, no, that didn't happen. And then their response was, because there was too many eyewitnesses and too much footage of the event, they said, yeah, we did open fire, but it was actually 1 kilometer away, like half a mile away from the actual aid area, despite the fact that these were people trekking for 7 miles to get to the aid area. So yes, it was near the aid area. Okay. And they got the Washington Post to basically issue a correction, a ridiculous correction, claiming that this was blood libel once again. And of course, the cowards over at the Washington Post corrected their and deleted their post below because it and early versions of the article didn't meet the Post's fairness standards. The background: early versions of this article on Sunday stated that Israeli troops had killed more than 30 people near a U.S. aid site in Gaza, with a headline attributing the action to health officials. The article failed to make clear if attributing the deaths to Israel was the position of the Gaza Health Ministry or a fact verified by the Post. The article and headline were updated on Sunday evening, making it clear that there was no consensus about who was responsible for the shootings and that there was dispute over the question. While statements from Israel that it was unaware of injuries and that an initial injury indicated its soldiers didn't fire at civilians near the site were included in all versions, the Post didn't give proper weight to Israel's denial and give improper certitude about what was known about any Israeli role in the shootings. The early versions fell short of Post standards of fairness and should not have been published in that form. This is why they dropped passive voice for a second. They dropped passive voice for 1 second and immediately Israel pounced on them. Okay? How insane that they would try to correct it by basically offering weight to the institution that lies about everything. The Washington Post is now reporting the story about Sunday's massacre. While 3 witnesses said the gunfire came from Israeli military positions, the Israeli Defense Force denied the allegations, and that led to the obsequious apology below. Oh, okay then. Oh, Israel said they didn't do it? All right. I guess we should offer more weight to the fucking state that has routinely lied for the past 19 months. This has conducted an ethnic cleansing campaign. Incredible. Incredible stuff. An Israeli military official later said several suspects were approaching them overnight and fired warning shots at the group, but there was no connection between this incident and the false claims made against the IDF. Let's watch.
Eyewitness after eyewitness, same story. The Israelis fired on civilians near 8 points, killing and injuring scores of civilians in recent days, they say. Moreover, repeated testimony that they used drones to do it.
We were there lying on the floor since 4 a.m. and the drones were firing at us. The Israelis were firing at us. People were crouching on the floor, women and children. And in the end, all we left with is a can of fava beans.
Israel has not directly commented yet on its use of drones in these recent incidents, but it is a world leader in developing military drone technology. For these drones, sometimes called quadcopters, firing bullets is certainly possible.
We know of a lot of companies that advertise drones with small caliber weapons mounted on them. We know that the IDF has worked with some of these companies.
And a UK doctor who'd worked in Gaza gave this evidence to Parliament just a few months ago.
What I think I found particularly disturbing was that a bomb would drop maybe on a crowded, tainted area, and then the drones would come down.
You reported on these drones a long time ago. Only now mainstream media is reporting on it. Yeah. Drone copters that have snipers attached to them that snipe children is something that we have covered months ago. Drone copters that actually provide surveillance and also directly speak to the Palestinians also covered that months ago. Only now is mainstream media starting to cover this. Even this is months after the fact that surgeons that went to Gaza came back and reported on the victims that were children. Drone copters that play the sounds of crying children in an effort to draw out Palestinians that are trying to help people in need, only to fucking shoot and kill them. Again, they are basically at least 5 to 6 months late to the game. Even after there was direct testimony, even after there has been verifiable evidence that we have seen from people's phone camera footage. I saw, I believe, an ABC or NBC, one of those like foreign, one of those reporters, conflict reporters, talking about his interview with a doctor in Gaza. A doctor in Gaza that in the midst of the interview was interrupted by a drone that flew directly to her window and started yelling commands at the doctor, asking about like who she was talking to and things like that, demanding that none of this is actually filmed. Nightmarish dystopia.
Down and pick off civilians, children. And we had...
Yeah, Al Jazeera's investigations unit covered quadcopters on December 2nd, 2024. Palestinians in Gaza say Israel's been using small quadcopter drones equipped with loudspeakers to lure them out of their homes and then shoot them.
In mid-April, we were informed that Israeli quadcopters were emitting bizarre sounds, including baby sounds or women screaming. I went personally to Nusayrat and I interviewed several Palestinians separately, and the testimonies were almost identical. Quadcopters were for 2 consecutive nights on the 14th and the 15th, I guess, of April. They were emitting baby sounds, playing sounds of screaming women. The quadcopters apparently played these sounds only to lure citizens out of their homes and to find someone to shoot. And this was confirmed by actually the reports that we followed up on at hospitals. There were cases of people getting injured by these quadcopters after going out to figure out what was the sound to try to help.
Suddenly we heard a woman shouting in the street, "Help," with a baby also asking for help. The voice was coming from outside the door. It was a quadcopter with 4 propellers. Then it headed towards the tents. We called my cousin. Don't fall for it. It's just the sound system. Abu Anas al-Shurur from this area was shot in the head. It's a baby saying, "I want my mother." This is the other thing. Like they will use these drones to basically broadcast there it is with weapons. This is from Elbit Systems itself, by the way. They can be equipped with sniper rifles. This has been known for months. Okay, remember the initial reporting on this came in the month of only a couple months into Israel's genocide. Verification from Al Jazeera came in December from their investigative unit. Channel 4 is covering it 1 hour ago. Israeli sniper drones used in aid attacks. Gaza witnesses claim.
Description after description. This is not, an occasional thing. This was day after day after day.
Israel said that's a lie. We don't target civilians. And then there's a psychological dimension too. Listen to this sound. An Israeli drone by night over Gaza. The blaring sound of a screaming baby. The man filming says this is coming from the drone. He says if you go out to investigate the sound, you'll be shot. It's happened, he says. Israel claims it would never do anything so unethical as this.
That's so funny. Yeah, no, definitely, dude. Israel would never do this thing that Israel definitely is doing, that we have video footage of. But it's fucking blood libel, and you're engaging in anti-Semitism for saying that. As Felix said yesterday, Felix Biederman said yesterday, when referring to the Lindsey Graham post, a couple months ago, they were like, this is fucking blood libel. This is blood libel. Remember? Whenever we were talking about like the flotillas being shot at by the Israeli state, it was treated as though it was blood libel. It's always shit that Israel is doing in broad daylight, being treated as blood libel. But then a couple months after the fact, it just turns into something that they are advocating for. How incredible. Hold on, let me find it. Yeah. I thought it was anti-Semitic blood libel to report this. Breaking news, Israeli troops opened fire near a Gaza aid site, the military said. Gazan officials said at least 27 people were killed. Israel claims that Palestinians are using human shields. The Israeli occupying force literally uses Palestinian human shields. There's also plenty of investigative reporting on this as well. Everything is projection, okay? Germans all across the globe are offended by your comments about the Nazi government. Yeah, this is anti-Deutsche discrimination, I know. Just a few short months ago, it was blood libel to say Israel deliberately struck aid trucks and targeted relief workers. If they hit this flotilla like they've done before, you'll have about a day of acknowledging reality before it goes back under the blood libel tab. Incredible. What's next on the blood libel situation? Israeli settlements in the West Bank are illegal under international law, but apparently it's blood libel. That's also blood libel. What's next, dude? Saying Sabra hummus is dog shit, all Jews to be assassinated. You must want the Holocaust to happen if you believe that Israel should follow international humanitarian laws. You are basically saying you want the Holocaust to happen every single day to all Jews around the world. Classic. Incredible. Yeah, this video of a Palestinian strapped to the hood of a car is blood libel. Look. Tying an injured Palestinian to the hood of a military vehicle and parading around the streets of Jenin, effectively using him as a human shield. Notice how they're also not letting ambulances pass through. More blood libel. Every single thing that I've said about Israel and Israeli military doctrine, Israeli military practice, to the onlookers, to people who are not knowledgeable about the ways in which Israel conducts itself in its ethnic cleansing campaign, at first comes across like insane shit. Because everyone ultimately is so conditioned into believing that like Israel is the Jewish nation state. So obviously there's going to be a lot of haters of Israel that are coming at this approach from an anti-Semitic angle and greatly exaggerating the untold amounts of violence and the most psychotic ways in which Israel actually dishes out said violence. Okay? It's probably anti-Semitic. Even I myself have found at moments, even I have thought, yeah, this is probably not real. This seems like too insane to be real. Perhaps it's someone who made up like it comes across like it's something that was made up by an anti-Semitic person. That's how insane Israel's military conduct is. Because it is an exterminationist force. It is purely fascist. So of course, as it goes, even I sometimes go, that's a bridge too far. I feel like you made that up, only to investigate and find out that, oh my God, no, this person was not making it up. It's actually very real. And there's funny ones like the semen commandos, like the goon squad that extracts semen from fallen Israeli occupying force soldiers. But then there's also other insane things that the Israeli government does, like the quadcopters that play the sound of crying babies to lure out Palestinians that are trying to help, only to fucking assassinate them. It is crazy. It doesn't make any sense. I don't understand how a single person, I don't understand how any singular person that is a self-respecting individual in the Western media would still cover whatever the fuck Israel is saying and take their word as worth anything. They have so consistently lied about every single thing that they're doing and so consistently projected all of the awful shit that they do to the Hamas organization, to the Palestinians in general, that no one who is a adult with a functioning brain should ever take what the Israeli officials are saying seriously. They've lost that privilege. Like, all states lie, for sure. It's not unique to the Israeli state. All states lie. But what we're seeing from Israel is just like so glaringly obvious. Like, they lie in the worst ways possible, in the most like irredeemable ways possible, that you cannot treat Israeli members of the media, like Israeli officials, that Israeli spokespersons in the media, as though they're being fucking honest. Like, you can't do that. Not Israeli members of the media. There are some Israeli journalists who are very honest. But yeah, Mohammed Shahada says, what would it take for mainstream media to cover Israel's systematic use of Palestinians as human shields and baits? Does the IDF need to put out a cartoonishly giant sign that reads human shield on top of this man's head? 36 hours later, zero mention of this incident in U.S. media or EU media. This is a Palestinian that was dressed up in IDF combat fatigues and being lured around by rope as bait. God, you're such a fucking simp pussy. Okay, good one. This is established military practice in Israel. Israeli soldiers have come out and confirmed that this is established military practice in Israel. So whenever they say, oh, Hamas is using human shields, remember, that is not only a lie, but also projection. Israel actually uses human shields. Anyway, let's hear more about this blood libel, though, from the most moral army and the most moral envoy of the most moral army.
Only last week, the Israeli government announced new settlements, 22 settlements.
Well, no, can we pause?
Well, hang on.
Yes.
On the West Bank, 22 settlements, which the international community views as illegal. They announced 22 new settlements. As a lawyer, given your adherence to the point of law, presumably you would condemn that.
Well, this is exactly why we need to be clear about how international law applies and why the notion of these so-called illegal settlements is a misnomer.
You don't think they are?
It's not a legal term, it's a political term, and it is part and parcel of a misapplication of international law to the status of the territory. These blood libels, occupation, ethnic cleansing, colonialism,
so you think the settlements are not illegal?
And genocide are all part and parcel of the propaganda, which I would like to be able to come on to, because all of the evidence goes in...
International law is blood libel, and its application to Israel is anti-Semitic. Classic. Anyway, let's get back to the other blood libel. Israeli sniper drones being used in the aid attacks, potentially, as Gaza witnesses claim.
But there is something about drones in terms of their persistence, the fact that they are very advanced, they're very mysterious. If there's a drone flying above your head, you have no idea if it's watching you, if it's going to drop a bomb on you, if it's going to target you. And that sense of sort of mysterious suspense, it adds a really dark dimension to the conflicts.
Load onto all of that, feeding the paranoia or feeding the database, or both. Debate about how far AI drone tech can now identify human faces on the ground for targeting or leaving alone. The face, indeed, of modern war.
Well, here with me now is Palestinian lawyer Melina Ansari from the Human Rights Watch organization. How should the use of drones change warfare? I mean, you'd have thought it means that whoever's controlling them knows precisely who they're pointing at, and that would reduce.
Blood libel is an accusation, a historic accusation that has caused tremendous harm to Jews all around the world in an instigation of pogroms, ethnic cleansing campaigns that Jews have faced, primarily in Europe. Okay? It is an anti-Semitic canard that dictates that that falsely accuses Jews of murdering Christians in order to use their blood in the performance of religious rituals. This is a blood libel is a real thing that took place where accusations against Jewish people in villages when there was like a drought or a famine or any sort of disease would immediately lead to a bunch of fucking dumbass villagers saying, oh, Jews poisoned the well, or Jews actually are killing our Christian children so they can drink their blood or whatever. And then it would lead to massive violence against Jews in said villages. It's like witch hunts, okay? It is a real anti-Semitic canard. Its modern application of this sort in defense of the genocidal apartheid state is fucking insane, because Israel is doing these things right now. Israel is using drone copters. Israel is actually illegally occupying the West Bank and building new settlements. The notion that this is blood libel only dilutes the severity of the term blood libel. It makes people question the historic violence that Jews were subjected to as a direct consequence of the lies that people have told about Jews. It doesn't have the intended effect of getting people, when used by Israeli authorities and people who are propagandizing at the behest of Israel, saying Israel's the Jewish state, this is blood libel. The intended effect from the people using this in its practical application is that it causes people to stop and second guess themselves because, oh my God, am I being anti-Semitic right now? That's not what's happening, because Israel's violence is insane and being conducted in broad daylight. Can you explain what it actually is? Are you fucking stupid? I just did. I gave you the dictionary definition. Blood libel, or ritual murder libel, is an anti-Semitic canard which falsely accuses Jews of murdering Christians in order to use their blood in the performance of religious rituals. Oh my God. Especially in the preparation of Passover bread that was perpetrated throughout the Middle Ages and sporadically until the early 20th century. This kind of lie would cause mass lynchings and mass executions and pogroms where villagers would say, oh, it's the Jews again. They're killing our Christian babies to drink their blood. And then they would fucking kill a bunch of Jewish people and ethnically cleanse their villages of Jews. Okay? How many more times can I fucking describe the same thing? What the fuck? In its modern application, in defense of its modern application, most commonly used in defense of the genocidal apartheid state of Israel, where Israeli envoys will say, oh, this is the Jewish nation state, and you are engaging in blood libel. You are lying about Jews doing such heinous, violent acts. Meanwhile, it's not Jews doing heinous, violent acts. It's actually Israel doing heinous and violent acts. And these people are cynically applying a real term to describe lies that were told about Jewish people in an effort to do pogroms against Jewish people. The most common blood libel, obviously, is all the lies told about Jewish people that led to the fucking Holocaust Okay. But the irony, of course, the dangerous irony, of course, in this process is that this does not actually turn around and cause people to second guess themselves, to stop them dead in their tracks from engaging with the truth. It actually just dilutes the term blood libel, and it makes people think, well, obviously what these guys who are saying they're Jews, these Jewish guys are saying like Israel's a Jewish state and it's blood libel, but I saw it with my own two eyes that they're fucking murdering children. So maybe they were lying about blood libel in the past as well. That's what happens. It is an incredibly dangerous. It is an incredibly fucking dangerous way to try and it's an incredibly dangerous way to try and fucking defend Israel, when in fact, instead of defending Israel, all you're fucking doing in this process is make the term blood libel come across like it's not actually valid at all. You're undermining the historic significance of the term blood libel by doing so. You are defanging anti-Semitism, exactly. Underscoring the dangerous dilution of changing the definition to suit Israel's goals. 1940, anti-Semitism, an irrational fear or hatred of Jews solely or primarily on the account of their Jewish identity, regularly weaponized to enable persecution, pogroms, and ultimately genocide. Blood libel, false and fraudulent accusation that Jews murder Christians, particularly children, to use their blood for ritual purposes, often weaponized to enable violence and massacres of Jews. Anti-Semitism in 2025, condemnation of Israeli genocide or apartheid and or any attempt to apply international law to Israeli conduct and or any criticism of Israel or any of its policies, particularly by individuals, politicians, and organizations that subscribe to universal values. Blood libel, the documentation and or condemnation of the slaughter of Palestinians by Israel, particularly where it concerns the many thousands of Palestinian children massacred by Israel in the Gaza Strip since October 2023. Also, any criticism of Israel or any of its policies, particularly by individuals, politicians, and organizations that subscribe to universal values. I know drones are hovering over the Freedom Flotilla. Please, guys, I know. It reminds me of the story of the boy who cried wolf. The utilization of blood libel in an effort to defend Israel's insane conduct in its ethnic cleansing campaign of the Palestinians is not actually defending Israel at all. It's not stopping people from recognizing the truth about Israel's behavior. The only thing it ends up doing is basically fucking make people go, all right, well, obviously these people are like, these are Jews, right? They're Jews, and they're saying that Israel's violent actions that I've seen with my own two fucking eyes are actually perfectly appropriate and being done for Jews, right, all around the world. And also simultaneously, if you ever fucking criticize this, if you believe your lying eyes, then you're anti-Semitic. Okay, well, I guess I'm anti-Semitic then. That is the somewhat intended secondary impact of this kind of idiotic and dangerous posturing. And it is happening. It's happening every fucking day, and it's incredibly short-sighted. If Israel thinks that this will be beneficial for Israel in the long term, if Jews are threatened by real anti-Semitism, real danger, because many people in the Western world now associate Israel's actions with random Jews that live in this fucking country, that live in Europe, they'll be too fearful to move to Israel. If they think that this is good for Israel in the fucking long term, they are delusional. Okay? It's not good for Jews in the short term, and it's not going to be good for Israel in the long term. The Israeli project is over. It's done. The Zionist project is done. The culmination of all of this violence will inevitably end. Will it end with actual fucking pogroms against Jewish people and a complete separation from Israel as a mechanism of American foreign policy? Or will it actually happen in an anti-Zionist fashion with a singular, solitary, secular state for all the Palestinians? That is up to a lot of these institutions. And so far, you're taking this too fucking far. Let them have a country at the very fucking least. What are you saying? You're taking this too fucking far. Let them have a country at the very fucking least. What? So if we view Israel as equal to Jews, then Israel isn't a democracy but a theocracy, and we should cut them off for other reasons. Also, fun fact, the original Lego movie is far more political than you think.
civilian casualties?
Yeah, well, it's a problem nowadays with the use of, modern technology in warfare, specifically drones. And we have seen cases such as the use of quadcopters and drones in Russia and Ukraine. And these are basically robots in control of firing weapon, even if there's a person behind the screen pushing a button. And Human Rights Watch did document several other modern technologies that are being used in Gaza by Israeli forces, like investigating and looking into the...
Yeah, I mean, look, I jokingly say if you think you hate Israel, you don't hate Israel enough, but holy fuck. Israel's net favorability in various European countries per YouGov. UK, minus 46. France, minus 48. Germany, minus 44. Denmark, minus 54. Spain, minus 55. Italy, minus 54. Israel's approval has fucking plummeted, even in Europe, okay? Even in Germany. Because after the United States of America, Germany is the greatest ally to the state of Israel, okay? The fact that the German population also has a net negative approval rating of Israel is crazy. Yeah, this is the other one. Exactly. It's fucking over. It's over. You can game it as much as you want to. You can game it as much as you want to. You can try and fucking say oh, well, we won Eurovision. We almost won Eurovision by fucking gaming the voting process. Nobody is believing that bullshit. And as a matter of fact, people are getting more resentful and more angry. That resentment and anger towards Israel is valid, okay? That is a valid resentment and anger towards Israel. Make no mistake. The problem is all of the pro-Israeli advocacy groups that masquerade as Jewish advocacy groups are universalizing that anger and resentment towards Israel as anger towards the Jewish state and only fucking leaning into anti-Semitism. They think this is a defense of the state of Israel and its activities, but all it's doing is causing people to be resentful towards Jews, okay? That is where we're at right now.
The artificial intelligence, Where's Daddy, or Lavender, or the Gospel that Israel uses to specify military targets in the Gaza Strip. And the thing is, it's dangerous. While international law and the international community is exactly collaborating and looking into how to systemize and institutionalize the use of drones, we are still seeing them being used in warfare in violation of international law.
Okay, let's come to the main news today, which is the shooting of people trying to get to these food distribution points. I mean, what's your understanding of the international law here in terms of what's happened in these incidents?
Yeah, to begin with, international law started when this whole shenanigans of an ex-military personnel company leading aid distribution. The most important thing under international humanitarian law when it comes...
Where's Daddy is an AI targeting program, a part of the Lavender AI targeting program that was unveiled by investigative reporters in Israel, 972 Magazine, and Local Call. I also covered this a long time ago, almost a year and a half ago. Okay, Lavender is a target populating AI program that dictates that if you're a Palestinian, then you are very likely Hamas. Okay, it obviously is bullshit, and it almost works as a way to take away the moral culpability of killing random Palestinians from the hands of direct war criminals, but instead simply just an AI that is broken and busted. Okay, that also has an incredibly insane secondary targeting protocol called Where's Daddy. Lavender basically populates targets off of ridiculous reasons. Oh, you're a Palestinian man who is between the ages of 14 and I guess 65, and you got a new SIM card, Hamas. And when you as a Palestinian man come home, Where's Daddy kicks in, and it automatically informs the nearest airstrike team that the target has actually come home. Daddy, okay? 14 to 70, military-aged male. When the target that is 14 to 70, between the ages of 14 to 70, actually arrives home, Where's Daddy triggers an alarm, and the nearest Israeli strike team will blow up the entire fucking house, eliminating the entire family and its neighbors as well. That is a real part of the Israeli... What? What is this? The AI shit is so gross for many reasons, but I fear it's a matter of weeks until Israel tries to fall back on, oh, it's... Turns out our AI was bugged. Yeah, I mean, it's a way to create plausible deniability.
To distributing aid is that it's widespread, it's humanitarian, and it bears in mind the dignity of the people in need of this humanitarian aid, and it's accessible for everyone that's in need. The militarized, the Gaza Humanitarian Foundation is basically a militarized private contractors who are distributing aid, and we have seen notorious records of militarized aid distribution.
And I suppose Israel would say that's what was happening before with Hamas's involvement in stealing aid.
Yeah, these are Israeli allegations that we constantly hear about but never see evidence of. And really important
you've never
to
seen
note,
evidence of Hamas taking aid? I mean, surely.
So it's not really, we don't know if it's Hamas, if it's Palestinian armed groups, if it's Palestinian gangs in Gaza, because according to UN reports, and this is what we follow in monitoring, the United Nations has clearly said there are Palestinian gang groups who are being armed so far, and they say it's not by Palestinian armed groups or Hamas, who are being armed and looting some humanitarian aids in areas under full control of Israeli forces.
Yeah, it's actually not Hamas that is looting aid. It's actually Israeli-backed Palestinian militants, criminal elements in the Strip that work in cooperation with the Israeli Air Force, with the Israeli occupying force that is doing the looting. They're also ISIS affiliates as well.
What the UN is saying, there's no way these armed gangs could do what they do without the okay or permission of Israeli forces on the ground there. While we see Israeli forces use quadcopters and shooting people, why aren't they, for example, dealing with the looting? We haven't seen how Israeli forces are dealing with this.
But what is the solution?
Yeah, the quadcopters actually offer protection to the Israeli-backed ISIS affiliate gangs in the region, and they end up killing Hamas militants that actually are trying to execute the criminal elements that are stealing and looting the humanitarian aid, by the way. Hamas has tried to enforce a curfew to the best of their ability under complete blockade and complete surveillance in an effort to reduce the looting. And yet these guys operate off of red zones inside of Israeli command centers that are created in red zones, like kill zones, where any Palestinian, armed or not, instantly gets assassinated by the Israeli state. They get to fucking operate in these areas all day, every day. Yeah, this is the guy, Yasser Abu Shabab. He's running a checkpoint in Rafah under Israeli protection. And in that checkpoint, humanitarian aid trucks, people who are delivering humanitarian aid trucks have reported that they are actually demanding money from them as well. They're extorting the people that are delivering the humanitarian aid while simultaneously looting the fucking humanitarian aid as well. Now, you might say, like, why are they doing this? And the reason for why they're doing this is, one, because they are depraved. And two, the reason why they're doing this is because they want to destabilize, to the best of their ability, a region that they have completely fucking bombed into oblivion. They want the civilian population of Gaza, the Palestinians there, to no longer be able to live or die through famine that they've created.
I'm here in the city of Rafah. Right behind me, you can see one of the distribution centers we opened in the last few days.
Yeah, he is basically saying we opened this distribution center as an Israeli military official, even though it's supposed to be not an Israeli, it's supposed to not be linked back to Israel. It's supposed to be Gaza Humanitarian Foundation.
So far, we opened 4 distribution centers, and we are intending to open more of them. We already launched or distributed more than 16,000 packages of food to the people, in addition to more than 1,000 trucks already entered Gaza, loaded with humanitarian.
The reason why they're fucking saying this, by the way, is because you can try to claim that it's collateral damage, that for one, calculated precise strike, you ended up killing 25 children, right? Even though that's inhumane and gross, you can at least try to massage the narrative within the confines of war. Okay, war, like, oh, this is accidental. All of these deaths are accidental. Now, obviously, when it reaches tens of thousands of children, obviously it's no longer accidental and no one fucking believes it. But you can still functionally claim that this is a part of war. It's an unfortunate consequence of a war, right? But you cannot deny and claim it's also a part of war when you are directly creating a famine. Okay? You can't do that. That is part of the reason why so many humanitarian aid organizations that initially didn't want to say that Israel was doing a genocide very quickly were like, nope, Israel's doing a genocide. It's done. Okay? Why is he saying it in English and not in Hebrew? We all know it's bullshit. This is for external use only. Exactly. If you see an Israeli military official or an Israeli envoy speak in English, know that that is for you. It'll be a little different than what they say about the same exact situation in Hebrew. This is for Western eyes and Western consumption.
Aid. Hamas is doing his best, is almost to stop us from doing so. He is spreading rumors, fake news. He's trying bluntly and violently to stop the people of Gaza from reaching those distribution centers. I urge you not to believe every rumor spread by Hamas. We will investigate each and one of those incidents and each and one of those allegations. We are professional military, and we will do our best in order to dismantle Hamas, to release our hostages, and to spread the population of Gaza from Hamas and from Hamas leadership. I'm here in...
This is Hamas. It is very clear. This is Hamas. And there are people who are lying at the behest of Hamas. Many people. Terror babies. Babies of terror. Hamas babies. Anyway, let's get back
when
to
Israel doesn't accept the UN as an honest broker. It regards it as partisan and on the other side.
Yeah, well, the thing is, it's not on Israel to decide whether they want to work with the United Nations or not. This is under the United Nations Charter. Israel is obligated to cooperate with the United Nations institutions. And for example, UNRWA, Israel has a unilateral treaty with UNRWA that it alone, on its own, decided to stop. Let me remind you also that the International Court of Justice is looking into an advisory opinion into Israel's obligations towards UN entities in the occupied Palestinian territory. We're talking about Gaza, which falls under occupation of Israeli authorities. So Israel has an obligation to facilitate and collaborate with the UN.
Melina Ansari, thank you very much indeed.
Thank you.
Now, first, the head of the Gaza Humanitarian Foundation resigned, saying the operation could not adhere to humanitarian principles. Now, the Boston Consulting Group, which helped establish the US and Israeli-backed aid distribution mechanism, is also jumping ship. Let's get more from our Washington correspondent, Siobhan Kennedy. Siobhan.
I don't get it. It's totally above board. It's perfectly legal, perfectly valid. Why are these guys all, why are all of these guys just escaping any association with the Gaza Humanitarian Foundation? I thought it was in the name, the Gaza Humanitarian Foundation. What? So weird. Why are they jumping ship?
Well, that's right, Krishnan. Adding to the chaos on the ground, it's emerged now that the Boston Consulting Group, which is the US contractor that was hired to set up and run the new aid organization in Gaza, actually quit the job last week and terminated its contract with the Gaza Humanitarian Foundation. Now, in a statement...
Yeah, BCG, Boston Consulting Group, jumping ship now while everyone else jumped out before should tell y'all how evil consulting groups are. Yeah, I mean, we are talking about some of the most evil figures, okay? Some of the most evil entities in modern society. American Marine snipers that have now turned into mercenaries and consulting groups, okay? Think about how fucking evil this process looks like, and this process actually is, that you got mercs that previously were American Marine snipers going, it's a bridge too far for me. I don't know if I want to be associated with this, okay? Like, that's insane.
Statement to Channel 4 News, the Boston Consulting Group said that it was doing the work for free to help set up the new aid organization. And it added that follow-on work relating to Gaza lacked buy-in, it said, from multilateral stakeholders and was stopped on May the 30th. The Boston Consulting Group has begun a formal review of the work. And while that review continues, the partner who led this work has been placed on administrative leave. Now, it's not clear what that unapproved follow-on work was or why the partner in charge.
They should say why. I think it's gross that they're trying to do reputation laundering, but not actually following through on what the reasons why they pulled out were. BCG helped design the Gaza Humanitarian Foundation model, set contractor pay rates, and manage its ops from Tel Aviv. They now say they've ended the contract and placed a senior partner on leave. Insiders say Gaza Humanitarian Foundation might not survive without them. 2 executive resignations took place. As you know, the mercenaries that I told you that resigned, including the head of the Gaza Humanitarian Foundation, Jake Wood, claimed that 7 million meals were distributed. IDF opened fire near Rafah site, 27 civilians killed, dozens wounded, mass refusal by UN agencies and aid orgs to join. New GA Fed, the Gaza Humanitarian Foundation director, Trump ally Johnny Moore, evangelical PR operative. Israel controls the entire aid flow. Armed U.S. contractors secure distribution. 3 to 4 hubs operate only briefly each morning, but not inside aid zones. Despite GHF's claim of safe ops, even Israeli defense officials warned of stampedes in internal memos. Boston Consulting Group says his work was pro bono, but internal sources say they invoiced $1 million per month. The UN and the WFP, World Food Program, have called the situation a tragedy and demand full access. Instead, Israel enforced a tight blockade, has displaced most of Gaza's population south, and is ramping up a new northern offensive. Gaza Humanitarian Foundation was marketed as an innovative solution, but it's become a failed militarized workaround to global humanitarian norms. This is privatized aid by design collapsing in real time. I think that it's not privatized aid by design collapsing in real time, even though it is privatized aid. It's actually a mechanism of aid distribution that was supposed to create chaos. It was supposed to be a trap. And yes, a friendship dating to 1976 resonates in 2012. Benjamin Netanyahu worked for Boston Consulting Group. Of course. BCG is the Boston Consulting Group that was... Oh, I'm so tired. I just told you what their goals were with the Gaza Humanitarian Foundation. I just explained to you that they were doing payroll, okay? That they were working with the Gaza Humanitarian Foundation, which is not a real humanitarian foundation at all. It's directly funded and facilitated by Israel and the United States of America, the 2 parties most responsible for the genocide of the Palestinians. It is illegal under international human rights, under rules of conduct, to actually distribute aid, occupier, and using the aid as a mechanism to trap Palestinians or to displace Palestinians. All of these things were basically, all of these things immediately came to light. I've been covering this for fucking months and months and months. I just repeated that point just now. And people just like don't understand, what I said 9 seconds ago and go, I don't get it. I keep repeating myself so much.
Has been placed on leave. Should be noted, though, that the Washington Post did cite sources that said that the Boston Consulting Group actually charged $1 million a month for its work in Gaza.
Has there been any response from the White House?
Well, there has been a press conference in the last hour or so, and the White House press secretary was asked about the latest shootings, and she said that the administration was looking into the veracity, she said, of the reports and wouldn't take the word of Hamas as the truth. She was also asked about the change of leadership in the Gaza Humanitarian Foundation, and just listen to what she said.
Well, look, this was a creative idea that the president called for to get aid into the region. These people were desperate and starving, and the president didn't like seeing imagery of that, and he wanted to ensure that aid was brought in with the approval of Israel for understandable reasons. We will never forget the brutal attack on October 7th. And again, this is something that the previous administration was unwilling to put the time and effort into doing.
Well, she seems to imply that the whole idea of this Gaza aid group was all President Trump's. Important to say in this respect, though, that the Boston Consulting Group as a private entity presumably would have been operating at arm's length from the White House. But today, the Gaza Humanitarian Foundation has announced that it has appointed, in fact, a pro-Trump evangelical pastor by the name of Johnny Moore to take over running the organization.
Siobhan Kennedy in Washington.
The children of Reem Zid today, come back, answer me, says her son Zain. Behind him, his 15-year-old brother Ahmed explains to a reporter why they'd risked trying to get to the aid site. Everything's been under siege, he says. Of course we were going to go. My mother was telling my brother, lean over, lower your head, do what I'm doing. My brother turned his head, and then a bullet went into her head. We are supposed to be able to eat with dignity. We're supposed to receive aid without humiliation, without being disgraced. It was Reem's 5th attempt to get aid from the new US-Israeli-backed Gaza Humanitarian Foundation in Gaza's far south. She'd returned with nothing each previous time, losing out to those faster, stronger, in the chaotic competition the new aid system has created. This was the 3rd consecutive morning of Israeli shooting in the vicinity of one of the GHF sites. On this occasion, the military confirming it had fired toward what it called suspects who'd left the main route. Gaza's health ministry reported 27 people killed, nearly 200 injured.
I was in the way at 3:30 in the morning. There was shooting and I lay down. I don't know how the bullet hit my head.
If it seems extraordinary that again so many stayed on through the shooting to try for the aid, these are the stakes in Gaza right now.
This is a bloodbath with bits of food soaked in it. We go there to die. They fire bullets and shells at us and quadcopters fire at us. All of this is death.
We see people killed in front of us and end up leaving empty-handed. We're tired of this. Maybe people will be able to get aid if their IDs were checked.
That was GHF's original plan. Nominated representatives, irises scanned, taking days' worth of food back to their families. It has not run as advertised. Since Sunday's shooting, GHF and the Israeli military have been closely aligned, both condemning media lies, both denying incidents at or near the aid site, Israel's army admitting only to firing warning shots further away. Today, a change in approach. Israel admitting that this morning, warning shots were followed by the real thing.
And as some of the suspects continued, despite these warning shots, advancing towards the troops in a threatening manner, further fire was directed near these specific individuals.
But doubling down on the accusation that media were reporting Hamas propaganda without verification.
June 1st, Hamas claimed Israel had killed 31 people at an aid site in Rafah. The New York Times and others ran with it. Then we've released an Israeli drone footage showing that Hamas gunmen opened fire on the crowd. Now, did the media lead with that correction? No.
For good reason, as it turns out. The footage used in a separate government briefing today is from a different location and time. Our colleagues in Gaza say the gunmen belong not to Hamas, but an armed gang that was selling stolen aid. This evening, Israel's military released new footage of its troops in Gaza's...
Nope, take it one step further. Armed gangs selling stolen aid that are under the protection of Israel. Because remember, there's a drone that was able to take that footage. Okay? Now, how is it that this drone that took that footage didn't immediately assassinate the person? It is quite literally what we've been reporting on for months at this point, that Israel is armed gangs in the region and protecting them to basically get footage like this so they can claim Hamas is doing it.
Far north, it follows news overnight that 3 Israeli soldiers had been killed in the fighting there. Israel's Prime Minister calling their deaths a heavy price, promising to achieve all the goals of the war. In southern Khan Yunis, more evacuation orders as Israeli troops expand operations there. For Gaza's civilians, the achievements of this war counted in increments of misery.
Well, joining me now from Al-Mawasi near Rafah is Hamish Young, who's the Senior Emergency Coordinator for UNICEF in Gaza. Now, Israel says this aid operation is working and millions of people are getting food. What's your assessment?
Good evening, Christian. Our assessment is that it's not working for all the reasons you've just seen. There are large crowds gathering. They're moving in. The whole situation is chaotic and uncontrolled, and people are being shot. I think we can quibble over the numbers, but the fact is, and I don't think anyone's disputing it now, the tens and tens of people have been shot over the last 3 days. And that is just absolutely unacceptable. The Secretary General's called for an independent investigation yesterday. That was even before today's killings, which have only added to the need for this to stop immediately.
Do you think it can be made to work, or does it need to be abandoned?
The current structure can't be made to work. It's inherently flawed in its basic design. It does not adhere to accepted international humanitarian principles and humanitarian practice, the sort of thing that the UN agencies and a lot of very large international NGOs have been following for many, many years. What we have done, what we've demonstrated works very clearly is not something that we've just come up with in the last few months for this war. It's years of practice of doing this stuff, lessons learned, reviews, evaluations over and over again to get this right. We demonstrated during the ceasefire that when we've got access and we've got enough supplies, we can deliver.
But Israel claims that it was Hamas that was giving out the aid, not the UN. What's the truth?
That's simply not true. The UN was giving out all the supplies. I certainly put my hand on my heart and...
Yeah, well, Israel also claims UN is Hamas, so what are you going to do, you know? I'm telling you, bro, if Israel said, it's sunny outside, I bring a fucking umbrella. Get the fuck out of here, dude, Israel says.
Vouch for UNICEF. We were giving out the supplies. The UN was giving out the supplies, and the internationally recognized NGOs were giving out the supplies. I think, Christian, it's important to note that during the ceasefire, when there were many, many thousands of trucks coming, I think you'll recall that was 600 a day was part of the ceasefire agreement. The United Nations and the internationally recognized NGOs were accountable for only about 35% of that. There was another 65% that were brought in by bilaterals and other organizations. So I think if you want to look for any problems, you need to look into that 65%. The aid brought by the United Nations and the NGOs is distributed in an extremely rigorous way. We have monitoring, we have post-distribution checking, we have audits, we have independent third-party verifications. We have all sorts of mechanisms, like I say, that have been honed over many, many years of practice to ensure that the aid gets to the right people. And if I can just add on that, I mean, speaking from UNICEF, we're bringing baby food, we're bringing nutritional supplies for malnourished children. Do you really think anyone wants to divert that? We're bringing vaccines for babies.
Well, what is the current state of hunger
Israel does
in Gaza at the moment?
I think exactly what you saw on the videos just now and what you've heard on the reports. If people are desperate enough to go back day after day and risk getting shot when everybody knows, every single person in Gaza knows what's happening there, yet they're still prepared to take the risk to go and try and collect just a modicum of food, whatever they can. That speaks volumes for how desperately hungry people are here.
Hamish Young, thank you very much indeed. Well, a short while ago, I spoke to the Israeli government spokesman, David Mencer. David Mencer, the IDF has admitted shots were fired
this
morning,
insane.
Firing at people who you have told it is safe to go and collect aid when they are desperate for food.
I'm issuing a unique trigger warning that I normally would not issue under any other circumstance, but he is just a straight up fucking neo-Nazi, David Mencer. Why do they keep interviewing them? Well, nowadays when they interview these fucking animals, the interviews don't go down the way that Israel would expect it to be. I mean, he's gonna rip him to shreds.
First things first, Krishnan, we're trying to divorce Hamas from the aid distribution system because Hamas were taking the aid, profiting the aid. You know, they were charging poor, hungry Gazans to get...
Brother, what would they be able to do? Like, let's say that's the case, okay? Let's walk through this. First of all, there's no evidence for it, okay? And it's fucking bullshit. But, like, what are they going to do with the money? Is there a fucking merchant in the tunnels that you can go to? And you just go, here's the money I got that I stole from the fucking Palestinian civilian population. Give me rocket launchers now? Like, where do they go? An NPC vendor? Do they have a fucking Walmart? Like, where? What are they doing with the money? It doesn't make any fucking sense. Like, there is literally no economy remaining in Gaza. What is Hamas supposed to be doing with the fucking money? Yeah, the fucking Resident Evil 4 merchant is in the tunnel system. Going, oh, hello, Hamas. Time to give you, browse my wares, Hamas militant. Browse my fucking wares. I've got all these rocket launchers. All you need to do is steal money from a Palestinian child and I'll give you all of the fucking rockets. What are you buying, Hamas?
Get this food. We're divorcing the two subjects of Hamas and aid distribution to allow hungry Gazans to get the food directly, to be able to feed their families in an orderly way. Now, to the event this morning, Tuesday, the IDF have said that as crowds move towards along the designated routes towards a humanitarian aid distribution point in northern Gaza, Israeli soldiers identified several of those people. They left the approved access route. The incident occurred approximately 500 meters, half a kilometer from the distribution site. And after issuing warnings, audio, verbal warnings, warning shots were fired in the air. And
I like that they went from it's fake, it's a lie, it's the most anti-Semitic lie, to actually Hamas was doing it, to, okay, maybe we did it, but it was just a warning shot, to, okay, it wasn't just the warning shot, they were being suspiciously Palestinian in the vicinity of a fucking Israeli occupying force soldier, so therefore they had to be assassinated. Every single time, man. Why do we play this fucking song and dance every single goddamn time? Yeah, I mean, it's a classic. It did not happen. Okay, it happened, but it wasn't us. Okay, it happened and it was us, but we didn't kill anyone. Okay, it happened and it was us, but we only killed someone the third time in a row it happened. It's just, it's so fucking spectacularly ridiculous.
And unfortunately, some of these suspects continued advancing towards our troops in a threatening manner, and so further fire was directed near. No, where there are people desperate for food, we want them to get the food. That's the whole point. That's the whole point. We're trying to get the food to the individuals. Hamas,
were they armed?
The IDF will be able to answer that question directly, but let me tell you, our intention is to get as much food to ordinary Gazans. In the video of the incident on Sunday, the IDF have already released that video, and it showed as clear as daylight.
That's David.
Right, but this is very, very important to put this into context.
That's a totally separate incident in a different place.
No, it's not.
And there's no evidence that was even Hamas.
It's 2 days before. It's 2 days before, and these are Hamas gunmen.
They're not. They were your gunmen. They were gunmen, as I've detailed, that are working directly with the Israeli occupying force, that are ISIS affiliate militants and criminal elements in the region that get to operate within the fucking Israel, the Israeli created red zones, suspiciously without ever getting shot by any of these fucking quadcopters, including in the goddamn drone footage that they're posting. The entire reason why they do this is so they can literally post that drone footage to be like, well, see, Hamas was doing it.
Firing on their own people, Christian.
You don't know that.
Why they're doing that?
There's no evidence for that. And it's in a totally separate incident. Let's keep it to what happened this morning. Let's
Yeah, well,
keep
we
it to what
can't
happened this
separate
morning.
the two.
Was anybody
I'm sorry.
armed?
We can't
Did anybody
separate the
fire
two.
at the IDF?
We can't separate the two. We can't separate the two. Now, the IDF said they were advancing in a threatening manner, and obviously they felt their lives were
What does that mean?
under threat. The IDF operates under international law, not Channel 4 law, international law. And that's why it's very important. The details of this case are very important. Now, the IDF is aware of these reports and also of casualties, and they are reviewing the incident. But look, a couple of things are clear. We are not preventing the arrival of Gazans. The opposite. We want more humanitarian aid sites, and we want more Gazans to collect that food. We're encouraging it. Now, these warning shots were fired
David,
away from the aid distribution
twice
point.
now, desperate people who have been starved for weeks have been shot at while trying to collect aid. You are
Starved for weeks by who? Also, it's pretty funny that the Channel 4 reporter is in Jerusalem and he's talking to the Israeli Hasbara guy who's in Tel Aviv. Like, they could be doing this in person. I didn't even realize until this moment. Like, what the fuck? I will say, these guys are, like, Western media has started to do real coverage, finally. And they're talking... Western media is covering this shit like Israel won't actually deport them or even fucking assassinate them, which is surprising to me. Like, it's odd. Like, you're talking a big game when you're literally inside of the apartheid state, shockingly enough. But once again, this is a marked tonal shift from mainstream reporters.
are terrifying the population of Gaza even more. They're too scared now to go to collection points because they know they could be shot at by the IDF.
So that is precisely the Hamas rhetoric that they want you to publish.
So more than 50 people are
No, that's
dead.
not the facts, Krishnan. You have got the facts wrong because we've already shown you video.
This is also why we're trying to explain to people, like, this kind of stuff. You know how I said, like, constantly associating Israel with Judaism and then claiming that anytime you say something that, like, literally happened, someone goes, oh, that's blood libel, is basically having the unintentional opposite effect of people not going, oh my God, I should stop saying the truth now. But instead, it makes people go, okay, well, I guess fucking I'm doing blood libel and maybe you were lying about blood libel, right? Creating anti-Semitic opinions. The other impact of this is that when you constantly associate the entire planet with Hamas and you do it over and over again, as you are so openly the far greater evil in this process, doing a fucking genocide, right? Eventually, you're pushing people to negatively polarize against Israel so hard that they start backing Hamas, okay? Like, the very fact that any number of polls conducted in the United States of America have anything beyond like 9% support for an internationally recognized terror group that is comprised of Muslims in a nation state like the United States of America, where like we basically breed Islamophobia, okay? Anything beyond like maximum 9% is insane to me. And now we're talking about like 25%. Now we're talking about even higher percentages of people saying openly in fucking under the Trump administration, where you could possibly even go to jail for saying you support Hamas. Motherfuckers are actively telling people in polls that they support Hamas against Israel. What do you think was going to happen? There was that one Harvard Harris poll that was conducted that had 43% support for Hamas. 43% support amongst young Americans. That is insane to me. That is actually insane. Like, the fact that people are that fucking tuned in to Israel's violence here is crazy. Yeah, ironically enough, this is the exact same process as how Hamas came to power in Gaza. Exactly. And as we know from all the polls that I've shown you, in historic Palestine, those who do not live under the rulership of Hamas oftentimes have a much higher favorability for Hamas. So much like the Palestinians in the West Bank, as opposed to the Palestinians living under Hamas rulership in Gaza, Americans are now also showing high degrees of favorability, at least amongst the youth, towards Hamas. Once again, just like with the blood libel shit, just like with the consistent you're being anti-Semitic if you say Israel's killing children when it very clearly is killing children. You have negatively polarized people against your position. And now you have negatively polarized people against militant resistance against the apartheid state conducting a genocide when Americans historically have insane levels of unfavorability towards even Americans that also disrupt the pre-existing social pecking order in the United States of America, like Martin Luther King, a figure that was whitewashed in perpetuity. At the time of his assassination, had a 67% disapproval rating, okay, by Americans. Americans don't like anybody that rocks the fucking boat. But Israel has rocked the boat so spectacularly in broad daylight due to all of the tremendous amount of positive media coverage that it has enjoyed over the course of the past 77 years of apartheid that they've basically washed aside the incredibly sophisticated propaganda machine. They've destroyed it. Billions of dollars spent to make people think that Israel's the most moral nation on the fucking planet, the most only democracy in the Middle East, all this fucking ridiculous nonsense. All of that is gone. It's over. And it's almost funny to see like the ADO try to actively come after someone like myself who actively separates Israel from Judaism, Zionism from Judaism, and talks about this from the framework of anti-Zionism alone. And because of that, I'm the number one marker of the Israeli government. The number one target of the fucking Israeli government is insane. Dude, worry about the actual existing and rapidly growing anti-Semitism in the West, big dog. You live in America. You don't live in Israel, you know? That's what I will never understand. It's like, do you have no self-interest? Like, there's a clear reason why you don't live in Tel Aviv, right? Because you prefer living in Sherman Oaks or Brooklyn or fucking Boca Raton, right? You clearly have every opportunity to go and fucking live in Tel Aviv. You don't want to do that. You don't want to live there. You think it sucks. So why the fuck are you ruining your life here by actively associating yourself with Israel's war crimes? You're an American. You're not Israeli. You're a fucking American. It makes me so mad when I hear dudes who do not fucking live in Israel that could very easily live in Israel ruining their own fucking future and the future of their children on this nation state on U.S. soil by consistently tying Judaism back to the heinous actions of Israel. It's so fucking stupid. It does not pay handsomely. You're wrong. It unironically does not pay handsomely because, like, if you think that the violent actions of this fucking Colorado guy is or the Israeli embassy staff shooting, which I would package as something different than this other dude, but regardless, like, if you think that there won't be violent retaliation towards people who don't fucking deserve anything, like anything of the sort, if you think that this doesn't unironically make the United States a less safe space for Jews, I don't know what to tell you. There has never been a moment where Israel was safer for Jews in the United States of America. Never. My point is, all of this violence being packaged as being done at the behest of Jews all around the world is creating tremendous enmity towards Jews, okay? Regardless of what their worldview or their position might be. That is my point. Israel is making the rest of the planet a less safe space for Jews by not only its conduct, but its constant association with Judaism, its constant false conflation of with Judaism. They attack you because you separate Judaism from Israel. As you said, they can more easily discount the Candace Owens's because she is anti-Semitic. Ironically, though, that isn't even true anymore because anti-Semitism does not carry the same stigma due to them exactly trying to tie Israel to Judaism. That is my point. That is the point I'm making, is that these guys don't mind the likes of Candace Owens or Dan Bilzerian or any number of different people who are openly anti-Semitic who are also anti-Israel. Okay? The ADL and all these advocacy organizations don't care about those guys because they can always point to those guys to say, of course they hate Israel, they hate Jews. But when it comes down to someone like myself, I jokingly have said this before. I don't know if this is like 100% the truth or not, but I've jokingly said this before. I'm the motherfucker that's actually causing Jonathan Greenblatt's nieces and nephews to be anti-Zionist. So he fucking, okay? Because Jonathan Greenblatt's nieces and nephews are never going to listen to Candace Owens and go, oh, wow, I guess Jews are actually believing the fucking Talmud and trying to do historic baby murder rituals or some shit. Like, no Jewish person is going to fucking understandably believe the insane anti-Semitic conspiracies. But that's the problem. And by the way, when I say I'm converting Jonathan Greenblatt's nieces and nephews, I'm not talking about literally his nieces and nephews. I'm simply stating that, there are plenty of young Jews in this community. An entire generation of potential Hasbara agents have now been, have now unironically become way more radicalized against the state of Israel for understandable reasons. You got people that would be funding Jewish advocacy organizations that would actually work as a, Israeli defense organization. Anyway, let's see what this fucking dipshit has to say on Sky News.
It's in the air, and still some of these suspects continued to advance towards the troops in a threatening manner. Still, further fire was directed close to them, but not to them, but they continued their advance. So we know very well about this report, but I must tell you again that we have released verifiable footage of Hamas gunmen themselves firing at Gaza.
David, yes, but the footage that you just alluded to from the incident.
I never in my life would have thought Sky fucking News would be doing real-time pushback. Chat, is this real? It's so fucking crazy, dude. That is unfucking believable. For months on end, when an Israeli official went on Western media, whatever they said, it was whatever I say goes. All of a sudden, almost overnight, well, not overnight, but in the past couple of weeks, people are actively going, yeah, no, the footage that you sent in is actually not from that incident. And it seems that forensic analysts have figured out that those weren't Hamas militants at all. They were actually criminal elements.
Incident on Sunday is disputed. It was not of the
I don't think
Gaza
it's disputed
Health
at all.
Foundation, humanitarian foundation site.
No, I don't agree with you. I don't think it's disputed at all. It's probably disputed by people that want to maintain control of aid distribution.
Yeah, which is, of course, the United Nations.
But we're not going to have that anymore because
so
that
let's
is
talk
their
about
last
this incident.
vestiges
Let's talk about
of
this
control.
incident on Tuesday. Okay, David, let's talk about this incident on Tuesday. 27 people killed. You say there was a threat. Did they have weapons?
Well, you'll have to ask the IDF for the specifics. Points
I'm asking
about
you.
that.
You're here to speak.
Right, and I'll tell you that the IDF is not preventing the arrival of Gazans at humanitarian sites.
That was not my question, David, as you well know. Did they have weapons, David?
It's precisely the opposite. We are encouraging it. Now, the warning shots were fired away from the aid distribution to the threat perceived by IDF troops. Now, we are facilitating, using this independent operation of this NGO, the Gaza Humanitarian Foundation, specifically precisely to ensure that aid reaches civilians and not Hamas.
Yeah.
David, I don't get it. Is it because, like, chat, I don't understand how at this point they don't have like better propaganda. Like, I don't get it. Is it because, like, is it arrogance? Is it pure arrogance where it's like, oh, we've gotten away with this for so long, we don't need to do anything? Or is it simply like the overwhelming number of war crimes that they commit on a daily clip that it's virtually impossible for them to find better propaganda? Like, I've been covering this for years. And I feel like possibly due to the overwhelming number of people who are even remotely invested in this being like super pro-Israel in the past, whenever I would talk about like Israel striking a journalist or Israel striking the Associated Press building or, Israel doing another siege, right? Like whenever I used to talk about stuff like this, I felt like there was so much more sophisticated propaganda that from the Israeli side, or maybe it was because the overwhelming majority of information coming out immediately was discarded. Like the information coming out of the Palestinian side was like completely fucking discarded. And a lot of the counter narratives were pushed by the only people that were invested in Israel, which was, of course, people who were pro-Israel and right-wing think tanks and shit. I don't know. It is truly shocking. I'm serious. As someone who's been covering this for fucking a decade at this point, it is shocking how bad the propaganda is. I guess they relied too much on people not recognizing the humanity of Palestinians or even recognizing Israel's violence at all.
Been many, many occasions of Hamas lying to international media, and unfortunately, international media repeating those lies, and that very often leads to
we're not repeating any lies, David. I'm putting the questions to you, and as you well know, in recent weeks we have spoken to Hamas about this. This 27 that were killed, 3 children were killed, 2 women. Were they a threat as well?
Again, every bit of news which comes out of Hamas, of Gaza, is controlled by...
Of Hamas. I mean Gaza. I mean Hamas.
The terrorist organization. There have been many. I can read
so
you
we can't be
a
trusted,
whole
is what you're
list.
saying?
No, I'm not. I'm saying that you need to verify. Do your jobs,
We'd
media.
love to, David.
We
We
are
would
not
love,
preventing
David,
Gazans
we
from
would,
accessing
as you know, David, and
humanitarian
as
aid.
you and I have spoken about before, we would love to verify this, but international journalists are not allowed into Gaza, are they? Why not?
Well, I'll tell you very, very clearly what the reason is for that. Our priority is getting our hostages out.
Oh my God, he's getting increasingly more red. Oh my God. Bro, if Israel keeps this up, England is going to elect Jeremy Corbyn. By the way, every single one of these fucking monstrous pieces of shit were directly in opposition to Jeremy Corbyn, including this fucking dipshit. One of the more sophisticated Israeli operations. The IDF is now saying they'll shoot anyone trying to get aid tomorrow. Oh, nice. I like that we're at the final stage, which is humanitarian aid distribution sites in Gaza Strip will not open tomorrow. The Gaza Humanitarian Foundation, the U.S. and Israel-backed body in charge of the aid distribution announces. According to GHF, the aid sites will be closed for a day to carry out logistics works to accommodate for larger crowds that have been arriving in recent days. GHF says it'll resume activities on Thursday. IDF's Arabic language spokesperson, Colonel Avichai Adrae, republishes the announcement, warning Palestinians that travel on roads leading to the aid sites is prohibited, as they are considered combat zones. What is this?
You mean about
Exclusive. Alex Jones responds to Palantir hysteria and lays out what is really happening. Don't want to come across as me ever having liked Alex Jones, but man, what a downfall. We're literally in a supposed period he always prophesied of unchecked government power and openly evil corporate overloads. And now he's just like, it's all just fear mongering. Once again, I have to repeat my position, okay? Alex Jones has always been a fucking psyop. Alex Jones's primary position is to either, one, make everything look like all conspiracies, some of which are valid and real, look silly by definition because of the association with Alex Jones, who makes a bunch of fucking insane shit up in the process of saying one truthful thing or 2 truthful things. Okay? That's it. And now that we live in the post-Alex Jones world where, even the conspiracy theories have become democratized because all information dissemination is democratized, now he has to fucking turn around and be like, don't believe the lies. Palantir is actually perfectly fine. Palantir is turning the frog straight. Sam Cedar once said if Jones is not a CIA asset, they would create one just like him. Yeah. Northern Lion in 10 years.
Palantir. And when you look at it and you understand it.
By the way, this guy straight up on the morning of 9/11 was like, Israel did this. Okay? I need you to understand. On the morning of 9/11, this motherfucker went on public broadcast and was like, Israel is responsible for this. Israel did this. Mossad did this. Straight up. Okay? So understand that he went from saying Israel did it and the European Union did it to fucking Palantir is actually good. How the fuck?
Palantir and the surveillance systems and the AI and all of it has been an outlier from the bigger companies. And it's been wanting to get big contracts. And Trump wants to use it to track illegal aliens and stuff. And the real ID that
Oh, yeah. That's what Trump wants to use it for. Yeah, Palantir is fine. It's not. Like, that's crazy, man. You're talking about a fucking insane company that is named after a movie, like a villain's surveillance technique in the fucking movie that is led by a literal blood-sucking demon who isn't even originally American. Like, that right there that's Alex Jones's reality. Like, that's what he was saying. How the fuck did this happen? Peter Thiel unironically has fucking blood boys, dude. He sucks on the blood of the young. He actually does blood transfusions with young boys. He has many Hillary Clinton style, maybe assassinations. Who knows? Okay. He's also gay. That's the other thing. Like, you don't like gay people. He's gay. There's so many different avenues of attack for someone like Alex Jones here. Okay. Some valid, some invalid, but it doesn't matter. He's like, nah, Palantir is a big company and Trump is using it to fucking find undocumented migrants, undocumented immigrants.
They're trying to bring in that's terrible, that never got implemented because it's unconstitutional. So I've been critical of all of that. And I obviously don't trust Palantir and the rest of the stuff it's doing. But it is small compared to all the other big AI and the Pentagon Sentinel and all the rest of it. The reason you're seeing the attacks on it everywhere is because it's trying to get contracts that other big tech companies already have, and because Palantir has been supportive of Trump. And so, yeah, Trump is going to them because they've been supporters. But all this hype about Palantir, all of these systems can be used for control. All these systems are out of control. All the AIs are woke. So Palantir is being used to...
Dude. I mean, it's been said before. I've also said this as well. But, like, if Jeffrey Epstein wasn't assassinated and he was able to go on podcasts and talk about how much he hates woke, Alex Jones would hail him as a hero, a champion. Okay? Straight up. Palantir is actually not woke.
Run AI drones killing people in Gaza. All of it's very concerning. But why do people know about Palantir and nothing else? Well, that's because it comes from the left, only focusing on Palantir.
Oh, the wokes hate Palantir. That's why you're supposed to like Palantir. That's what it is. Yeah. Here, IDF veteran pitches White House on AI program that scans open web for radicalization following the Israeli model of counterterrorism. Here's what Aaron Cohen, an IDF special operations veteran, said on live on Fox News. Let's hear it. Let's hear what he had to say.
The Trump administration is listening. Partner with me and let's scale this and get local law enforcement the tools they need. My technology will prevent these threats from popping off. You have to get in front of these. The technology's here. The Israeli model meets Palantir quality engineering, and I've got it, and the White House needs to give me a buzz, and let's get this thing scaled nationally, and it's called Gideon.
Yeah, let's scour the internet with Israeli technology that monitors whatever people are saying online so we can fucking arrest them. You know your cause is just when your approach is total suppression and disappearance of anyone who expresses any dissent about your ethnic cleansing project. Yeah. No, it seems like a great idea. Seems like you guys are on the right side, man. He's like, we must engage in mass surveillance of law-abiding American citizens to figure out if they love Israel. Do you love Israel? Israel #1. No politic here. Why you no love Israel? That's sick. Good stuff, man. That certainly is going to change the fucking tide. Okay? Yeah. Do you love Israel? Why you no love Israel? Oh, you hate Israel. Oh, Israel, small nation. Why you hate Israel? Oh, anti-Semitism. Anti-Semitism. Oh, do you go to Colombia? Anti-Semity? Like I saw in my favorite Israel TV show. Colombia, anti-Semity. You love Hamas? You are Hamas? That's what the Palantir fucking surveillance state is going to be doing to me on a daily basis. You have said I'm Israel high? You have said I'm Israel high? You have forgotten. You have forgotten to say I'm Israel high? Do you love Israel? If you don't say I'm Israel Chai, you must love Hamas. Gideon scans incoming signals across open web, Reddit, the cards, public forums, blog posts, conspiracy board. Wait, what the fuck? What is this? Who wrote this? Did an AI write this? Look at the fucking typos. Oh my God, we are run by the dumbest monsters, dude. Indicator patterns, grievance buildup, martyrdom language, hate speech and ideology, tactical prep, target references, final pots, final post behaviors, gaming and alt spaces, in-game chat logs, clan servers, TikTok comments, Discord servers, Telegram channels. Oh my God, thank God. It's not on. Twitch is not here. I'm not American. Could you please tell me how hogs are just watching this shit and not reacting like separate countries saying what you do on Fox News? Because American conservatives are fucking servile dogs. Do you understand? There is nothing more peasant-brained than the American Hitlerite small business owner that lives in a fucking suburb, okay? I cannot think of a more servile, self-debasing individual than an American suburb Hitlerite, okay? The most disgusting, the most obedient of dogs is the American that has an arsenal of weapons that says, oh, I need to have this for tyranny. I'm fighting against tyranny. Nothing more servile than a dog like that. American conservatives are so fucking malleable. They are almost entirely propping up the cuckold pornography industry with their behavior on a regular fucking basis. They are complacent. They are dogs. They literally sit around and go, please, sir, can I have some more? More boot, please. I will suck on it. They are unprincipled charlatans that angrily lash out at whatever they fucking perceive is wokeness or whatever targets that have been previously designated by the state and the media apparatus. They are literally, they're lower than their cognitive functioning is lower than a fucking sea cucumber. Okay. It is ridiculous. Here, I'll give you an additional statement on this. Here's the top Republican senator on Trump's cuts to Medicaid. The best health care is a job. That's what this fucking animal said.
That's a rising tide lifts all the boats. And, the best...
But hey, he's got the vest on. He's one of us, brother. He's white. He's one of us, brother.
For if people are looking for health care, the best health care is a job. And a lot of times health care comes with a job. And so creating those better paying jobs that come with benefits is ultimately the goal here.
What does he think about gay people and elites? Societal elites, libtards. What does he think about libtards? Throwing pepper and some libtard language in there. And I'll vote for you, sir. I'll vote for you. I am servile. Launch me like a missile into the suburbs, sir. I will go into the enclaves. I said, wild how little these kinds of statements cause people to second guess their allegiance to the Republicans. Dems have given up on taking up opposing stance on healthcare. Most Americans have lost hope and are slowly marching to their deaths. Republicans will fucking kill their immediate families to be a servile, obedient dog to fucking monstrous, super wealthy animals like this, okay? They do not think. They do not have enough brain processing capacity to think, to make reasonable decisions. They're too busy sucking Elon Musk and Trump's penises, okay? And by the way, as far as like killing their immediate family members, that's not an exaggeration. That's not an exaggeration at all. Look what happened during COVID. They volunteered their immediate family members to fucking die while simultaneously saying it's fake, COVID's fake, but it's also a Chinese bioweapon. Also, the vaccines are fake and don't take them because they will make you gay. They don't care. They're just a bubble of resentment and animosity. God damn. Yeah, I'm reminded of fucking Joni Ernst mocking people scared to lose healthcare while filming in a fucking cemetery. No, that's actually a perfect representation of like what kind of insane messaging Republicans can get away with. Does anyone have that video? We have to watch that right now. It's going to make me so angry. I'm going to have an aneurysm. Oh, it's over. The taco meme is over. Does anyone have the Joni Ernst video? Remember when Joni Ernst was in a town hall, in one of her town halls, and one of her fucking constituents was like, people are gonna die because you're cutting fucking Medicaid. And she responded with, well, we're all gonna die. That's what she said. Well, here she is responding to that to apologize. Or is she gonna apologize?
Hello, everyone. I would like to take this opportunity to sincerely apologize for a statement that I made yesterday at my town hall. See, I was in the process of answering a question that had been asked by an
She's in a cemetery, by the way.
Audience member when a woman who was extremely distraught screamed out from the back corner of the auditorium, "People are going to die." And I made an incorrect assumption that everyone in the auditorium understood that, yes, we are all going to perish from this earth. So I apologize. And I'm really, really glad that I did not have to bring up the subject of the tooth fairy as well. But for those that would like to see eternal and everlasting life, I encourage you to embrace my Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ.
Bro, how do you jump from the Easter bunny or whatever the fuck, what did she say? The tooth fairy. How do you jump from the tooth fairy to Jesus Christ? Like, tooth fairy, very fake. Jesus Christ, very real. Slap Jesus Christ on the end of that fucking message and every single Republican is the Fedayeen, okay? They're like, hell yeah, brother. She's right. She's a woman. What a fine woman. I love being a good Christian. Jesus Christ would love killing the poor. After all, everybody knows supply side Jesus is the real form of Jesus. He didn't cure the lepers unless they were a part of their in-network coverage. Amen. That's your issue with this? I mean, that's one of the immediate things I'm responding to. My issue with this is that it's obviously fucking tone deaf and it directly contradicts Christian doctrine. Obviously, it doesn't matter, though, because modern version of Christianity is just basically Christofascism, and that the American hogs are servile. The American hogs love this kind of shit. They think this is the best depiction of Christianity. I hate it. It's a fucking death cult. And the very fact that more people do not feel the way that we do in this community when you hear something like this, when you have this fucking demon, openly posture like this, is like, well, some of y'all are going to die if there's no Medicaid, but it don't matter because we're all going to die. That's right. Who cares? Love, all glory to Jesus, please. Like when you say that, like under normal circumstances, if we were French, okay, yuck. But if we were French, think about the possibilities. How many cars would be on fire? How many fucking cars would be on fire if a French politician came out and was like, sorry, you are not getting health care. We are all going to die at some point. Every car would be on fire. They would shut it down. Americans, as opposed to the French, have endless tolerance for being absolutely destroyed every single day. As long as you can just slap on a couple Hail Marys and Jesus Christ is our Lord and Savior to the package, while simultaneously saying you're actually, attacking the fucking woke. Okay? That's right. We are fighting Islamagoshism. We are fighting Lavokism. That's right. We are fighting Islamagoshism by making sure that none of y'all's have health care. Me, I have the platinum health care given to me by the French, by Le French Parlement. You, on the other hand, can eat shit and die. Guess what? Because you clearly did not pray for Jesus' salvation hard enough. You deserve it. I've just unlocked a new character. French hick. Parlez-vous français, please? No parlez-vous espagnol, please. This is France. Excuse-moi. Someone said French pecker. Yeah. How are all your characters just nationalist hogs? Because they're the most fun. French hick, you mean Canadian? True. Except, again, I think the average Quebec nationalists would literally, I'm not going to say anything, but they would probably flip a lot of cars too, or at least do something else, okay? If their politicians were doing this kind of shit. Anyway, here, let's watch some more hateful statements coming from Israeli media, which, by the way, remember, when people see this stuff, you're not supposed to see this. This is not for American eyes. You're not supposed to ever translate from Hebrew. What I'm doing is the most anti-Semitic thing. According to Jonathan Greenblatt of the ADL, I am doing, once again, exterminationist rhetoric about all Jews by, what? Oh, that's right. Showing a video that runs on Channel 14 that is normally supposed to be in Hebrew for the Israeli audience consumption, but instead I'm showing you what the Israeli audience is getting in terms of propaganda. Let's take a look.
מה אני אעשה? עוד בתים, עוד מגדלים, שלא יהיה להם לאן לחזור.
אז אנחנו צריכים שיקרה האסון הזה כדי להבין שהפלסטינים זאת קבוצה מיותרת, כדי להבין שיכול להיות שמה שהם צריכים זה נכבה 2.
אתה רואה אזרחים לפתוח באש, בוודאי, הם לא אזרחים.
אני חושב שבפעם הראשונה כשאנחנו רואים את התמונות של ההפצצות, של הבניינים ושל הגופות מעזה, בפעם הראשונה אני לפחות אומר, who cares, זה לא מספיק, זה לא מעניין, זה צריך להיות הרבה יותר חזק.
שבעזרת השם עזה תהיה הריביירה של המזרח התיכון.
כתבה בעיתון הארץ שאנחנו מציתים בתים בעזה. כן. זה נכון אגב, נהדר, מצוין. הוא אמר את זה כאילו זה משהו רע.
זה מאוד פשוט, לקחת מטוסי ריסוס, למלא אותם בדלק, לרסס מעל כל עזה, ולהגיד להם, אם אתם תוך שעה לא מוצאים את החטופים, כל עזה עולה בלהבות.
אני לא מרחם על העזתים האלה. אני לא חושב שיש מישהו במדינת ישראל, בארץ ישראל, שצריך לרחם על העזתים האלה. לא על מבוגרים, לא על קשישים, לא על צעירים ולא על ילדים. מבחינתי שירבו למוות, מה אכפת לי מהם? למה צריכים שיהיה לנו אכפת?
יודעים שיש הליך משפטי שמתנהל בהאג, ושירים של חיילים שישרף לכם הכפר, זה לא בדיוק עוזר לנו במאמץ הבינלאומי. השאלה היא...
זה שאנחנו יהודים לא עוזר לנו במאמץ הבינלאומי.
עוקב אחרי החדשות, אנחנו שורפים להם את הכפר. זה טוב שאנחנו שורפים להם את הכפר. ואני אגיד את זה בכל מקום. לא רק אני אומר את זה, דרך אגב, גם כל החיילים חושבים כמוני, כמו שאמר ידידי יקר, אנחנו לא שורפים את הכפר, אנחנו מוחקים להם את הכפר וצריכים לשרוף להם את הכפר. יש שם לא רק לוחמים, יש שם עיתונאים עם מצלמות שמכוונות לצד שלנו, בעיניי אגב הם מטרה לגיטימית וצריך להוריד אותם. אף אחד לא מתקרב עם מצלמה לגבול שלנו. זה היה צריך להיות החוק, זה אזור מלחמה, אתה בוחר להיכנס לשם, דמך בראשך. צריך לדכא.
Okay, it's not my fault that the volume goes up and down a lot.
לדכא את הרצונות האלה של הפלסטינים.
We need to suppress the desires of the Palestinians. Yes, to suppress their desire for a state.
את הרצון שלהם למדינה, לדכא את הרצון שלהם ללאומיות, לדכא את הרצון שלהם לשחרור.
To suppress their desire for liberation. To suppress it. You did hate crimes just now? I don't understand.
Because we believe in...
Oh, I forgot to finish this interview. You're right. Fuck. Hold on. I need to finish this interview. I need to finish not this interview. Where is it? Oh, here.
Not Sky's journalists in. That's our priority. That's what we care about. Now, real journalists enter Gaza with the IDF. Hamas journalists, unfortunately, never leave because they work with Hamas. And to be fair to those journalists reporting from Gaza, you won't be alive very long if you ever do produce any sort of output that is against Hamas, because...
Yeah, what about international reporters? They won't be alive very long either, because Israel will fucking assassinate them like they've done to all of the journalists.
Hamas will kill you. So many so-called journalists in Gaza, and of course we regret any journalists which have been killed, real journalists, but, you know, Hamas operatives...
You're distinguishing between real journalists and fake journalists.
Oof, mommy, I lost a lot of close friends because I choose to watch your political commentary. It saddens me, but I thought I had to tell someone. For what reason? Are they fucking Holocaust enjoyers? Is that what's going on? Because it could be Holocaust 1 or Holocaust 2. Because like currently Holocaust 2 is being conducted in front of our eyes. Or it could be Holocaust 1. You know, it could be Nazis or neo-Nazis. Considering that I am an anti-fascist. Oh, because they're pro-Israel. Okay, oh, so Holocaust 2. Okay.
The point is, David, journalists aren't allowed, from international organizations, are not allowed into Gaza either. And I'm asking you again, why you don't allow that? Why don't the Israeli government allow journalists in, you'll know the charge that's put to the Israeli government is that they don't want the world to see what's really happening.
Again, so there's no shortage of output from Gaza. It's been on our front of our screens for 20 months now. But our priority is getting our hostages out.
You're not letting...
We want to get our live hostages out, not sending your journalists in. I will remind you that Hamas arrested a BBC journalist about 10 years ago, and they held him. And he was only released when there was an international outcry. And finally, Hamas released him. Now, that same outcry has not happened.
Oh shit, they're protecting the journalists by not letting them, they're protecting their journalists by not letting them into the Gaza Strip because otherwise Hamas would kidnap them. It's so funny. Am I listening to fucking Ethan Klein or National Public Diplomacy Director at Prime Minister's Office's very own former Labor Friends of Israel leader, David Mercer? Wow. Well, don't worry. If these fucking journalists are crazy enough to become Hamas hostages, let him become Hamas-stages, you know?
For our Israeli people being held hostage for more than 600 days now, our priority is getting our hostages out, not sending your journalists in.
David, that's entirely misleading. You know that there has been international condemnation of the hostages that are still being held. It is untrue for you to make that charge. Right?
I'm not talking about condemnation in words. I'm talking about real action. What
do you want? What do you want people to do? Fucking bomb Gaza further? Like what? I want more than words. I want you to strap yourself to a GB-39 rocket and launch yourself at a Palestinian mosque. If you're a real one, you would kill yourself for Israel. Why have you not said, "Am Israel high" throughout this entire interview? Why are you not nuking Gaza? We have nuked it, but you should nuke it as well. He wants the entire Western population to volunteer for the IDF. The fact that they haven't means they're all anti-Semitic. Yeah. What are you doing? Why have you not volunteered to fight alongside the brave soldiers of the Israeli Defense Force?
Real pressure is put on Hamas, the terror organization. Things happen.
Well,
hostages are released. You know when they get stronger.
What pressure? What fucking pressure? What pressure can you put on Hamas? You are doing a fucking genocide, man.
I'll tell you when they get stronger.
Process that's on the way, and it's ongoing, as you know, and we'll come on to that in a...
All right, here, let's watch the end of this.
Humanitarian principles. You, unfortunately, have decided
to
side
cast aspersions.
with. Yes, I will cast aspersions. You have decided to side
we've run out of time
with a
now,
terrorist
but
organization.
David, you and I
Shame
will
on
speak
you.
again, okay? David Mencer, their spokesperson for the Israeli government. Plenty more to come.
They hit him with a mute. They hit him with a mute, and as he was saying, "You are Hamas." Sky News, shame on you, Sky News. You've said zero. I mean zero Am Israel highs in the process. How dare you mute me? Sky News, you are Hamas. I like that it wasn't even a hard mute, and it was a fade, and they literally fucking showed him. They full screened him as he was just like, as a porky little pig, losing his fucking mind. Kaya, my lady. Place, get back over there. What is this? You're bored, huh? Former National Security Advisor Jake Sullivan praised Trump for his strategy of engagement with Iran and predicted he would reach a deal that is going to look and feel pretty similar to the 2015 nuclear deal reached by Obama. Oh no, someone alert Chuck Schumer. Chuck Schumer. Oh no. Chuck Schumer, you must be deployed.
This is where the anti-government democracy demonstration takes place.
Israeli activists protesting for Gaza's children. Bro, I'm sorry. Look at the flags. Rule of thumb. Rule of thumb. If the protests have the Israeli flag, that ain't a protest for the Palestinians. Okay? Even standing together. Even standing together don't actually, either these are the counter protesters, okay, or this is fake, this is phony. Even fucking Omdim, whatever, standing together, even they don't use fucking Israeli flags at their protests any longer. This one is a real one. He's got a fucking keffiyeh on, okay? This is like I assume there's like a, you know, Mezarvot, like actual anti-Zionists, like all 8 of them at the protest.
People in this demo are also demonstrating against the war, but mainly in order to bring back the hostages, not mentioning what is happening in Gaza. This is going to march down that street, and we're going to wait for them in one of the intersections with the photos of...
Standing together as dog shit. They didn't even call an idea of reservists to refuse to go back to Gaza. Brother, let me tell you something. I am not allowed to say what I think. I am not going to say it. But look, a lot of Israeli society is trained. Okay, they have all drafted at some point and served in the Israeli occupying force. They know how to use weapons. Okay, if IDF reservists want to go and maybe not do the ethnic cleansing campaign, I'm not gonna say, I'm not gonna say what I mean the many different endless opportunities for a real IDF reservist that goes back to duty, that goes back to circulation, like what they could do. I'm not going to say it, but you can't stop me from thinking it. And until thought crimes have been made illegal as well. I'm just saying, okay? The Israeli society, as it stands, has a lot of tools at their disposal. Okay? They do. They have a lot of tools at their disposal. I fucking love thinking, bro. Now, of course, there's been plenty of mutinies throughout history. There's been plenty of instances where people that were members of the armed state that thought that what the armed state was doing was unconscionable, then turned around and did things like peacefully protesting. That's what I mean, of course. That's what they should be doing. Peacefully protesting. What is this terminology? Just like I think it's called like a blue falcon. It's just totally unrelated, totally separate to the situation that I was talking about, BF, also known as buddy fucking, blue falcon. Who knows?
Of the children who were massacred in Gaza.
It's a military term.
When Israel broke the ceasefire, it killed a few hundred people on the first night. And I posted photos of the children who were massacred that night. And my friend saw it on my profile and she said we should print those photos and bring them out to the demonstration. בבקשה להתקרב. אנחנו פה להעביר מסר ברור שמה שישראל עושה בעזה זה לא בסדר, זה פשע מלחמה. אנחנו פה כדי לזכור את הילדים והילדות שמשלמים בדמם את המחיר ההפקר. We went out, I think, a group of 20 women with these photos, and were very surprised when people were coming up to us and asking us.
This is why you should not let women learn how to read.
Questions. They were asking, who are these kids? What happened to them? And people were genuinely shocked by it, upset by it. And so the next weekend we printed more photos, and over 100 people joined. And then the week after, over 200 people joined. And then the week after, over 300 people joined, and it just started growing.
We haven't done nothing.
These are women of terror. These are Hamas. These are women are Hamas. Israeli incel. Israeli incel, new character unlocked. This is the Whatever podcast, and today we are talking about women. The final stage of Hamas. These are women of terror. Why we are getting so many new guys today? You're speaking them into existence? Yes.
I myself a bereaved mother, so I know what they feel, their parents, their family.
Throw the flag in the trash if you believe it. It's crazy. Like, wow, you just found out? That's crazy. I just found out that Israel is killing children. Oh my God. Guys, bro, this is shot like a Logan Paul finds out he can see colors again type video. You know what I mean? It's like, or baby hears sound for the first time after putting an earpiece in. Like, lady, you are older than the state of Israel. What the fuck are you saying? You are literally older than the state whose flag you're waving. And you're like, what? What? They are killing babies? What?
Pain is pain all over the world.
Do you think a lot of people in Israel understand what's happening?
I'm not sure. I'm not sure they want to understand. Maybe they're still looking for revenge.
Wait, like genuinely, how are they not aware? No, dude, everyone is fucking aware. The notion that Israeli society broadly is unaware of all of the ethnic cleansing that is unfolded in Gaza is ridiculous. Okay? I'm sorry. You are fucking insane if you believe this even for a moment. Okay? She just got there. Give her a break. No, she didn't just get there. Again, I'm going to repeat this one more time. She is older than the state of Israel. Okay? Nope. There have been too many of these exact same situations that are unfolding for her to have not even accidentally figured out that Israel kills babies on a regular fucking frequency. Yeah, they don't got internet. It doesn't work here, okay? This isn't the first year of Israel's genocide, okay? Yeah, she's like, what? They're killing babies? Since when? Quick, let me grab my Irgun husband. When my husband was in Lehi, they did not conduct themselves like this. What?
No, but children don't have to pay. It's horrible.
Wait, what? Oh, fuck yes. Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God. They're doing the same shit that they do on college campuses, but this time to Israeli Jews in Tel Aviv. Oh my God. Oh, that's fucking hilarious. Oh, Jesus Christ. That's so funny. Shame. You are Hamas. Why you not love Israel? Dude, everyone is Hamas. Even Israeli Jews protesting against war crimes. Ehud Olmert, you are Hamas. Oh my Lord. Oh my Lord. Oh my God, that's so funny.
Busha, shame on you. Shame on you. You know what they're saying? Starvation is
We should fatten the gun.
yeah.
What the fuck, bro? You're Korean. What the fuck? What? Bro, who got you involved? What the hell? Yeah, yo. Hey, yo. Who brought blood? Who? What the fuck? What is happening, dude?
We should fatten the gun.
Yeah.
He's like a British Korean dude. What the? Oops. The Israeli tourist shaming Japanese Gaza protesters, but in reverse somehow. Damn, bro. Damn. Turns out everyone was right. Israel is an incredibly diverse nation. Fascists from all around the world can come and enjoy the ethnic cleansing campaign and the apartheid state. It seems it's time for me to say, my bad. The diversity is amazing. This is a new type of guy that I did not think existed. Okay?
Fat them up like pigs and slaughter. Yes.
Wait, what? She wants to eat them? She says, yes. We should fatten them up like pigs and then slaughter them. Lady, your fucking child is in front of you next to your British Korean husband. What is going on here? It's like Holocaust Disney? Yeah, literally.
לכו תראו את כל אלה שנרצחו, יא חתיכת זבלים, אתם עם עזה, יא חתיכת בוגדים, זה מה שאתם, אין לכם בושה, חתיכת מסכנים עלובים. אנחנו נהרוג את כולם, עד שלא יהיה להם אורז.
Bro, you have your child. Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God. Seeing the fucking internal resistance within Israel to like the 11 people that are protesting against Israel's actions on the basis of the humanity of Palestinians has been so eye-opening.
I understand the psychology of what is going on. I understand that people are mainly exposed to stories of Jewish grief, of Jewish loss since October 7. And thus, if you walk down the street, there are photos of hostages everywhere. And if you open the television, you know, there are still stories coming out from October 7. And the government manipulates that in order to push its own agendas and continue the war.
Alma Muhammad, which means her father's name was Muhammad Abu Tayyar. She was here and not anymore. And she was killed in Abasan al-Bire in May 7, 2025. And then they take the picture from here to the protest. So every day I have to collect the data from resources that I trust and write it down, organize it, and then upload it on our website. So it's a lot of work. There's a lot of dance around denial, and people try to shut the cracks that are already happening in the wall of denial.
What does it mean for you to print these images out and hold them in the streets of Tel Aviv?
Honoring their existence. I feel that taking responsibility in our deeds is the first step towards change.
I do feel that there is a change. Perhaps people are starting to...
I'm not gonna lie, this is new. This is new shit. Okay? Straight up. Like, Israelis protesting simply on the grounds that, like, Palestinian children are being slaughtered is still incredibly limited within Israeli society, but it is new and it's good. There needs to be way more numbers of people like this.
To look beyond their own grief and realizing the
Not all
magnitude of what
incels
we've
hate
done in
women.
Gaza.
Also, you said the J word many times. What's the J word? Not all incels hate women. What? What the hell is going on, bro? What's the J word? A job? I don't get why people would voluntarily say that they're incel. I will never understand that. That's a new kind of insanity for me.
And maybe now things are starting to click for people, perhaps. Like maybe people are connecting the dots. I guess I feel something close to hope when I see actions like that growing and creating ripples. But on a large scale, when you're looking at the level of